Welcome to an introduction of Polaris Aero's VOCUS. VOCUS is a safety intelligence platform intended to change the way you weave safety into your organization. Our safety technology is called VOCUS. VOCUS is a safety intelligence platform that is intended to bring everything and anything safety into one place. This one-stop place is also intended to be an environment where your teams weave safety into their daily tasking, so their comfort and engagement with the safety ecosystem is the best that it can be. When we create our applications or integrate in other technologies, we follow the three-word recipe of simple, meaningful, and seamless. These aren't just buzzwords. It has to be simple because if it's not, your team will not use it, and if they don't use it, the system is useless. The system should be meaningful so that safety is helping them do their daily tasking and not just a system to check the box at the end of the work shift. Lastly, the seamless part is how we do all this. We leverage technology to do the heavy lifting for our users versus many others who have simply created a digital version of a paper process. The bullets shown here reflect the keys to safety, and the VOCUS Safety Intelligence Platform helps to facilitate this with everyone in your organization, from line personnel to safety managers to organizational leadership. This scenario explains this in a typical example you can likely relate to. Let's say that on a given day, one of your pilots lands a plane long and has a near runway excursion. In our VOCUS platform, the way this gets handled is the pilot opens his VOCUS mobile app and reports the safety problem to the cloud. Vector then notifies the safety manager that there's a report to investigate. If you have the GEC Focus system integrated, when the QAR data is offloaded from the plane, it's uploaded into GE Cloud, and Vector will automatically pull that data into Vector SMS and notify the gatekeeper that there is a FOCA report to review. When reading the reports, we are really understanding what happened, in this case, a long landing near runway excursion. The key to safety is to understand why it happened, and Vector helps by facilitating a thorough evaluation of internal factors that could have been at play, as well as external factors that could have been at play. In this scenario, we're going to find that the root cause analysis culminated in 5 factors. The pilot had elevated fatigue. The pilot had not been to that airport in at least a year. There was a procedural nonconformance, and the landing was at a low illumination time of day at a mountainous terrain airport. When you stand back with your safety hat on, what you see on the right is the Swiss cheese model, where all these 5 holes aligned, and as a result, the problem on the left occurred. To bolster safety, our next step is to create risk controls to avoid these hazards in the future. What most operators do is modify their ops manual and then inform their teams in whatever fashion they can. Over time, the ops manual becomes a voluminous monstrosity, where as a management team, you have 3 challenges. Number 1, did everyone read the new manual? Number 2, does each person know their part in that change? And number 3, and most importantly, at some time in the future, if this should occur, will each person remember what the ops manual says to do about it? That's the biggest safety challenge. Science has shown us that if you don't use it, you lose it. If you're trained in something and you don't encounter that something for some period of time, your ability to remember how to cope with it is going to be compromised. We're human. Polaris thinks technology can help with this, and that's where flight risk comes in. Before each flight risk can bring to the attention of the pilot all the critical information they need to address the hazards on this particular flight. The pilot can get reacquainted with the information very quickly and prepare for a safe flight. Flight risk does this by scouring the data sources of hazards on each flight it analyzes. For this scenario, one of the outcomes may be to build a custom rule looking for the Swiss cheese model. So if we built a rule that says if there's elevated fatigue, the pilot hasn't been to the airport in at least a year, it's a low illumination time of day at landing at a mountainous airport, put up an advisory that says stop what you're doing, night arrivals are prohibited at Aspen, contact the chief pilot for a waiver. This is the advisory that shows up inside flight risk each and every time a trip is analyzed and that combination of hazards exists. So to conclude this overview, Polaris Aero believes that safety needs to be done differently, and by using technology and making it work for us, we can go beyond compliance and transform our culture. We thank you for your interest in our VOCUS platform and look forward to arranging a demonstration at your earliest convenience.